righty, here we come now in the 6200 four-wheel drive truck class, and we start out with one of the best, Oklahoma Showdown, and I tell you, they've waxed many good Midwestern pullers, these guys from the Southwest, Mike.
Yeah, they sure have, Dave. And, of course, Friday night they tore up their truck pretty bad. They tore the rear end out of it and the drive shaft and so forth. And I was back in the pit area when they had the rear end clear out from under the truck and was putting a new center section in it. So I'm sure they've got their act together now and they're ready to
Well, they had problems. I remember the drive shaft was hanging down, and it did not look good. Scott Johnson doing the driving from Perry, Oklahoma, the F10 Chevrolet. Oklahoma Showdown. Lining it up straight, right in the middle of the track.
Well, that's a good-looking S10, isn't it? Just
well, I tell you, many guys would be proud to have that at home on their farm or their ranch or in their garage. It makes a great pulling machine and a beautiful truck to look at. They've got this big 575 Aries in there as well, so they got plenty of power. See the butterflies open up. They're on it now. Look at them go. They're flying down the track. The body is bouncing up and down. This is a flip-top body. Here they go. Here they go. Here they come. They're coming right down the track. Close at 2:32 and 6. Here comes the Three Bears pulling team. Bob Smith sort of had a tough night on Friday night in the four-wheel drives and finished near the bottom of the class. Bob Smith driving an 82 Chevrolet. One of the nice things about pulling, there's always another day to pull, always another class, whether it be a heavier weight or a lighter weight class. You can see that big teddy bear next to him, the Three Bears pulling team from Winchester, Virginia. And here's a Chevrolet-powered truck that runs extremely consistent. He'll be in that winner circle just every so often. You notice he's putting his seat belt on. He's also got a lap belt as well. We've noticed that the last couple of years. Mike, would that be because the drivers want to make sure they're firmly in the seat to control the vehicle, whether it be a tractor or a truck?
That's right, Dave. The vehicle gets bouncing around coming down the track. The guys want to be able to maintain control, be able to maintain a constant smooth feed on the throttle, and they just don't want to be thrown around inside the vehicle.
Well, Go-Go, it's a good thing he got off the track. He was out there in the middle having a good time with the audience here at Super Pull 14. That's TNT's official mascot, Go-Go the Gorilla. So it's good that he's off the track because here comes Flamin' Bob Smith out of Winchester, Virginia, and he and his very fiery pullers. He comes down the track right on the right-hand side. Hey, not a bad run. Look at that, folks. I tell you, good run. And he's going to be close. That's going to give Bob Smith 2:31 and 6, only about 5 feet short of a full pull. All righty, here comes another one of our Fords that we saw in the first session of pulling. And here comes Jim Greiner out of Nashville, Georgia. Jim's a farmer down there with a 67 Ford. Remember, he's the guy that used to have the Minneapolis Moline Superstock tractor. And I guess one of the things that maybe changed to four-wheel drive trucks is that you get to run your four-wheel drive probably more often than you do a Superstock tractor.
That's right, Dave. And of course, if you remember back on our southern circuit years ago, that it was really down south where the four-wheel drives really started becoming popular.
Well, I remember going to Florida and Georgia, and we used to see the pullers down there and Champ and all the guys that we well remember in four-wheel drive pulling, and we thought, well, how long is this going to be around? Well, those guys were ahead of the ball game when they came out with those four-wheel drives, because now both of the truck classes, both divisions, the two-wheelers and the four-wheelers, have become two of the most popular divisions of pulling nationwide. So here comes Jim Greiner now out of Nashville, Georgia, 67 Ford, and the Fords, like we say, don't have a lot of numbers in the class, but what they do are real quality. So Jim Greiner now putting his head out the window. The drivers that want to look at their tires, Mike, what are they looking for here?
Well, a lot of times when you're sitting inside the cab, you really can't tell if your front end is lined up straight and going where you want it down the track. And also, you can't really tell how hard your wheels are turning or what kind of slippage you have. So that's why they'll lean out the window and kind of keep an eye on things.
All righty. Well, he's got a beat now, 2:31 and 6. I take that back. He's got to be 2:32 and 6. That's where the Johnson boys are at from Perry, Oklahoma. Here comes the Ford. Jim Greiner out of Georgia. And a very simple yellow paint job. It looks bright and shiny out there as he spins out, and James Greiner will wind up at 2:20 and 4. Alrighty, backing up right now, a guy that we haven't seen a whole lot of lately, but boy, look at this wild paint job.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, the Intimidator, Lem Friday, who was one of the organizers and one of the presidents of the Florida Tractor Pullers Association. Lem Friday out of West Palm Beach, Florida. Now, who'd ever think that we'd have pullers right down there in that part of the country? But as you said a moment ago, that's a hotbed for four-wheel drive and two-wheel drive truck pulling. This is a 78 Ford van, and absolutely gorgeous. I think it would probably take top honors for the wildest paint job in the class.
I'm sure you remember some of the pulls we used to have down in West Palm Beach, Florida. We about had a riot down there with some of the big crowds we've had.
West Palm Beach, if I remember, was one of the places where you didn't have enough seats for the people that wanted to go to the pull, and you'll remember well having to turn away thousands of people at West Palm Beach, always a hotbed for pulling. Of course, we remember Ocala and all the pulls around Florida, Winter Park, Orlando, Tampa. Been a tremendous number of events in Florida. Of course, a lot of the northerners go south and like to watch pulling in the wintertime. Here comes Lem Friday out of West Palm Beach. Look at that. He's moving very nicely. His head is out the window, trying to get a bead on where to go down the track. You can see that engine right out there in front, along with his fuel tank. Gorgeous-looking truck. And the distance for Friday, 2:32 and 4. That's going to put him just behind Scott Johnson of Oklahoma. Howard Lewis now, always very consistent, right up there in the top of the heat. Now, about a year and a half ago, you might have said, well, Howard Lewis's chances weren't quite as good, but boy, he has run tough here this past season of NTPA competition out of New Carrollton, Maryland, 86 Chevrolet. And I tell you, it's going to need a strong, strong run to get down the track. Right now, the Johnson boys in first place at 2:32 and 6. He lines her up very straight. Most of the guys now have gone over on the right-hand side of the track as the driver looks down the
well, maybe they figure the track's going to take them that way anyway, so they'll start over there and then...
Hey, Mike, look at this, look at this, look at this. He's coming right down. This is going to be close to the end of the track, and he gets the flag. He barely gets it out. Let's take a look at this. Yes, it is a full pull, our first full pull in the 6,200 four-wheel drive class. Willie Umps now out of Winchester, Virginia, that hotbed for pulling, along with Bob Smith that we've already seen run. Willie Umps with the 85 Ford. He makes a very slow start. You notice they start slower, Mike, than the tractors do. Why is that?
Well, they don't want to jump on the throttle immediately, and, you know, they want to try to get the sled moving, get your load moving, and then once the load is moving, then build your speed. But, you know, you have to do it awful quick. You can't really wait around too long.
We've got a real log jam around the 2:32 mark. Here it is for Willie Umps, 2:32, 9.2. Tony Osteen finished number 3 in the lightweight four-wheel drive class. Of course, he's won here before, as we mentioned on the previous session. So he's got a shot if he wants to win for 1987. He's got to make a good pull right here. In fact, he's got to have, well, a distance of past 232.9 feet. Tony Osteen out of West Green, Georgia, farmer down there. And you talk about the drought down in Georgia. He had quite a few stories this past summer about all the dry times they had. Here he comes. Oh, my word. And I'm not sure, Mike.
I don't know. Did you see the front end of the truck drop just after he started moving?
It dropped right after he came off the line. There was a little bit of smoke that came out of the engine as well. This could spell disaster for Tony Osteen.
I see the track officials down there looking underneath the truck. I'm certain he had a drive line.
It looks like it's all over for Tony Osteen. And now we get the distance from trackside, 49.8 feet. Terry Davis out of Tappahannock, Virginia now with his 1984 Chevrolet Super thing. You can see all the suitcase weights out on the front. Mike, why do they put all the weight out on the front but none on the back of the truck?
Because the back of the truck gets all the down pull it needs exerted from the chain coming up from the sled. So on the four-wheel drives, you just hang all your weight on the front end to get the traction on the front end, and the sled takes care of the rest.
Hey, he's got a nice run going right here. A very smooth pull down the track. Terry Davis looking good. But he's going to come up quite a few feet short at 2:23 and 9. All right, here we come now. The final pass for the Nationwide Auto Parts Kendall Special Truck out of Columbus, Ohio. Headquarters of Nationwide Auto Parts doing the driving. Jerry Weaver from Thornville, Ohio, just east of the Buckeye capital. It's a 1985 Chevrolet and a good-looking truck at that. I'll tell you, it's a real standout, Mike. Something we haven't talked about, I'd like to have you comment on. The various hitch heights of the four-wheelers, the two-wheel drives, and the tractors.
That's right, Dave. The tractors, all the tractors, the super stocks and modifieds, all pull on a 20-inch high drawbar. The two-wheel drive trucks, they need quite a bit of leverage on the back end. Their drawbar's 30 inches high. The four-wheel drive trucks pull off a 26-inch drawbar.
All righty. So it's interesting to see how a four-wheel drive pulls compared to a two-wheel drive, but sometimes it's tough to compare because they've got 4 inches different of hitch height. And, of course, the higher the hitch height, the more that chain is going to be pulling down.
That's right.
The rear of the truck.
We've even said at one time that an inch of drawbar is worth probably 500 pounds. So, the height of the drawbar really makes a difference.
All right, here we come now. Jerry Weaver leads the line very nicely. Got a good-looking pull going right here. Bouncing a little bit, but not a bad run at all. This looks sharp. He's going to be close to the top. A good run as he bounces around and spins out. Jerry Weaver, the distance from our laser beam, 2:32, 9.5, 3/100ths of a foot better than Williams out of Winchester, Virginia, with an 85.4. All righty, here comes now from New Berlin, Wisconsin, with already 1 win under his belt, Bud Burner Jeske out of New Berlin, Wisconsin, with the Dodge, 86 Dodge. Here he comes now, leaving the line. And, Mike, I'll notice there's some mud flaps. What are they doing right behind those front tires?
They're just trying to deflect the dirt out to the side, Dave, so it doesn't go under the pan. And it's just an idea that they come up with, and it must work pretty well, because
look at that. He just made a full pull, ladies and gentlemen. Full pull for Bud Jeske out of New Berlin, Wisconsin. So far, the Jeskes have had a big weekend. Because of a misreading on the laser beam earlier in the class, Glenn Davis, now backing up to the sled, is given another opportunity to rehook. So Glenn Davis out of Hollywood, Florida now, with his 86 Chevy, Mike is going to get one more chance. I know most guys are somewhat disappointed if they make a good run and they don't catch it on the laser beam, but Glenn's a fine competitor, and as long as he gets another shot, I think he's very satisfied.
Yes, he is, Dave. It's a bad deal. It's unfortunate when a guy makes a good run and we don't get a measure on him, but that's called a contest malfunction, and we have rules to handle that sort of situation, so he'll get another attempt.
All righty, here's the bachelor from Hollywood, Florida, way down there in the southern part of the Floridian state. And he can pull with the best of them, but he hasn't had the best Indy Super Pull this weekend.
Maybe this second chance will be what he needs.
And he, too, looking out the left side of the truck. And wants to check those tires just to see when they start to turn, when they start to get locked in. Look at the track. He's still got his head right out there. That's the way he likes to drive. The Mean Green pulling truck, sponsored by his dad, Herb Davis Plumbing. And he comes up a little short at 230.10. Here's the last puller now in the first round of competition. Howard Lewis and Bud Jeske, both with full pulls. And here comes now Greg Cook out of Mount Airy, North Carolina. Greg looked awfully good in the first class, the lightweight class, with his 87 Chevy. This is brand new. Only a couple of weeks ago in Charleston, West Virginia, he brought this out on the track and just stomped all over the competition there in Charleston, West Virginia.
I'm sure he'd like to be the third one in the pull-off.
No question about it. He'd like to make it a three-way tie. Here he comes, Wild Blue, getting locked in, turning the tires very quickly. Hey, good run going.
Good speed coming down mid-track.
This is going to be close. And he comes up on the checker flag. No, it's not as close as we thought it was going to be. Greg Cook out of Mount Airy, North Carolina, 232, even, about 4 feet short of the lead.
Let's hear it for him, Greg Cook, 232.
You know, Mike, we've seen so many pull-offs here this weekend at Super Pull, but that's when it really gets to be fun time. Either if the last guy in the class can win, or if we got 2 or 3 in the pull-off. You know, guys like to rehook again. The fans like to see them. They like to make fast runs down the track. And we've really had good pull-offs here at Super Pull 14. So it'll be between Howard Lewis of New Carrollton, Maryland with his 86 Chevrolet, Bud Jeske out of New Berlin, Wisconsin with his Dodge. Jeske going for 2 in a row. Howard Lewis trying to upset him. They've added more weight to the sled, or they'll change the gears, whatever it takes to stop these guys this time around. We haven't had any double pull-offs here as well, so that's a good sign on setting the sled. Here we come now. Howard Lewis with high roller. Take us down the track, Mike.
Boy, Howard got a real smooth start out of the hole. He's got good speed at mid-track. And, of course, the sled's a little bit heavier, so he's not going to make it all the way to the end. But that's going to be a real tough pull for Jeske to beat.
Just a real smooth run for Howard Lewis in the pull-off, 2:08.5. Now we go to the final run in the four-wheel drive category. This will be it for the weekend for these guys. And I'll tell you, he's going to, if he doesn't win it, he's going to finish in second place. And that just isn't all that bad for the Jeskes. The Golden Ox, Dodge, and this would be the only Dodge in the class. And I guess if we're talking about motors, this Aries, is it closer to a Dodge or closer to a Chevy, Mike?
It's probably a little closer to a Dodge. A Chrysler, it has the spark plugs right in the center of the head like a Chrysler Hemi.
All right, so if the Dodge fans are ready to try to make it 2 in a row in this class, or in a four-wheel drive class, we should say, then this is the time for them to come to the feet. A near-capacity crowd now, ready to cheer for Bud Jeske out of Wisconsin. A lot of good Badger pullers here at Super Pull 14. Here's the family that will be heading for Europe on Monday as they get ready to load their equipment into the containers to be taken to the shipyards on the East Coast near Baltimore.
Boy, they've certainly had a good weekend up to this
won't
point.
They have a good time on their way to Europe? Here we go now. He's got to be 2:08.5. He's got to lay down a near-perfect run. He seems to be straining a little bit more, but he still has speed up, and he's got lots of power. Look at him go. Look at him go, and he spins out. Let's wait for the laser now to get us a distance. Here it is. He wins it. 2:12.4, just slightly better than 4 feet ahead of Howard Lewis. Howard Lewis taking second place from Maryland. Here are the official results now in the 6,200 four-wheel drive truck class as we see Bud Jeske winning it in the pull-off at 2:12.4. Howard Lewis finishes number 2 from Maryland at 2:08.5. These folks did not make the pull-off. Jerry Weaver finishes number 3. A good run for him in the Nationwide truck out of Thornville, Ohio. 2:32.9.5. Listen to these distances close. They're close. Number 4, Willie Umps, Winchester, Virginia, 85 Ford. 2:32.9.2. Then we go 5th place, Scott Johnson, Perry, Oklahoma, S10 Chevy, Oklahoma Showdown, 2:32.6. Followed by Lem Friday, West Palm Beach, Florida, 78 Ford, 2:32.4. And I want to go on down here a couple more places because these distances were close. Greg Cook out of Mount Airy, North Carolina, 87 Chevy, 2:32 even. Then Bob Smith at 2:31.6. And Glenn Davis in 9th place, 2:30.10. That meant the top 9 trucks were all within 6 feet of each other. And I tell you, that is as close a pulling as if we've had all weekend long. Jeske, congratulations. 2 in a row, and I don't think this has ever happened, especially with a Dodge driver.
Oh, it was just so neat. I guess the neatest part of it was my wife wasn't here last night and couldn't enjoy our win and share in it. And, we're tickled that the Dodge could come through. We're kind of now, not the popular as the Chevy and Ford, but it's fun to kind of be the underdog and be able to run that strong.
All right, well, did you change anything here in this class compared to the earlier class?
Just a little bit. We just changed gearing just slightly, and I think the track loosened up just a bit that we probably wouldn't have had to, but, as it worked out fine.
What was your strategy in the pull-off? From where we stood, it looked like you went down the sideline of the track.
I guess we just were going to go someplace different, different than Howard went, so that we didn't follow his tracks, hoping for a little better roll. We hit a little rough spot in the middle, but it stayed there, and it came on, and it just it held it so well, so it hooked good.